Hello again, everybody. Welcome along to the next of these interviews with me, Ben Calder, for the Bowen Therapy Professional Association, the BTPA. And I'm really excited today that I'm going to have Joanne Hewitt on this particular episode. And Joanne has been a Bowen practitioner since 2004, being introduced to it by Paula Esson, and was absolutely amazed after having a taster treatment at a demonstration that started to create profound changes for her, with rapid improvement and recovery from tension, headaches, and neck and shoulder problems. And this encouraged her to move from her work in a medical practice in Durham into training as a Bowen practitioner. She qualified in 2004 and has a particular interest in pregnancy-related conditions and baby and child conditions, as she did her training while she was pregnant. In fact, gave birth not long after finishing her training. And she's now moved on to being a tutor with the Bowen College and teaches her practices based in Durham and the northeast of England, and has got a special passion for the introductory courses with Bowen College, and looking to really get a healer in every household, helping people to be able to help everybody at home. So I'm really looking forward to my conversation with Joanne today, and hope you'll listen along and enjoy it as much as I did. Joanne, thank you for joining me here today as a little conversation with the BTPA. It's nice to see you.
Lovely to see you too, Ben.
Thank you. I understand you've just got back off a yoga retreat as well over the weekend. How was that for you?
Fantastic. Wonderful. Wonderful weekend. Recharging your
Brilliant.
batteries.
Brilliant. That's what we like. So have you been like a long-term yoga practitioner as well, or is this more of a kind of dipping your toe in to give yourself a little bit of extra support?
Yeah. I came across yoga a fair few years back, going to various classes, but I kind of like the yoga retreat. So yeah, it's nice to go away for a whole weekend, all of yoga and meditation, which actually helps to recharge my batteries, so that I can, be on top form for my clients.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. Physician, heal thyself. I think it's one of the most important things to do. As we're recording this at the moment, we're just a week away from me being on a week-long retreat of Qigong, which I'm really looking forward to. So I can already feel those vibes coming in that time out. So that's really good. Now, before we kind of get into a little bit more detail, there may be listeners who are tuning into this today that haven't come across you before, haven't come across your work before. So I'd really love if you could give us just a little history about how, where you got to in life, how you got to where you are now, and how you got introduced to Bowen.
Well, I was introduced to Bowen in 2000. No, it must be about 25 years ago, really. I've had various jobs leading up to being a Bowen practitioner, from pharmacy into GP practice, very busy practice, and came across obviously different therapies. Bowen technique was there, chiropractor, acupuncturists, but obviously mainstream it was physio, and seeing the struggles people were having with their health, and how they were managing their health. And a lot of the times, I mean, this is 25 years ago, people would go down mainstream GP if they've got a condition or suffering with anything. And at the time, I came across a lovely lady called Paula Esson, which a lot of people will know Paula Esson. She was based in the northeast, had a practice within the GP practice that I was working in. And I was introduced to Bowen through Paula. We had training afternoons, maybe, once a week. It was an hour training. So, one day, I took all my team along to Paula's treatment room, and I was demonstrated on. It was basically a 10-minute, 15-minute demonstration of Bowen, to benefit the reception staff, because they were always asked in reception, what is the difference from Bowen to physio? and because everybody hears of physio. So the easiest way forward was for us to demonstrate what Bowen was, and it made it a lot easier for people to be able to describe the difference from physio to Bowen and the benefits you could get. So I was demonstrated 10-15 minutes, and wow, that was the first time I'd come across Bowen, and my word, it just blew me away. And to this day, gosh, it changed my life massively, massively, not only for me as a person, but also for my family, really. And as we all know, we all have a busy life, whether we work or we're not. We've got family, got children. And at the time, I had one daughter who was 13 at the time, and came across Bowen, and I had tension headaches and trouble with the shouldering issue, but that was repetitive strain in a very stressful environment and busy GP practice in Durham City. It was a very 22,000 patients to look after. So, it got a little bit too much at times. So this is when I was demonstrated on. I came back the next day from this 10-15 minutes of a treatment, which was so gentle. And I thought, she hardly touched me. I had all these people in the room, and she kept having little gasps. This is not going to do anything. But actually, the next day, I'd been suffering with headaches every day. Nothing could, alleviate the headaches. And actually, they did. I've never had a headache since. And how I felt in myself, general well-being. You still can have a stressful job and stressful at home, or busy at home, should we say. But I was able to manage that, and my well-being was absolutely, my energy levels, was so different. And it enabled me to actually come back to being me again. I can't explain any other way than it changed my life. And I thought, I want to know a bit more about this, and I want to be able to, maybe I might do something for me. I was a young one at 18, and I had 13 years on. I thought, it's time for me to do something for me. I think I want to train in this to support my family, actually, especially my parents. And I thought, I'm going to do this. And I signed up for the course, and then I discovered I was pregnant 2 weeks before the course. And I thought, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to go on this course. I was in tears. So the second person who found out about the pregnancy was Paula. And it reassured me that I could train through pregnancy, obviously because we practice on each other. So I thought, that obstacle's not going to get in my way. And I trained through pregnancy, loved every minute of it. But I did have a condition, placenta previa, and we thought I was going to have to have cesarean. But as it happens, obviously with all the training that I'd done and had Bowen, I didn't have to have cesarean. I had a natural birth, but actually I finished my course 4 days before I had my little boy. So it was a bit close, and
Sure.
and Paula was there with the towels, and there was a nurse on the course, so we were fine, But it was, I was totally determined to finish this course, because it's one of those things you'll always say, I haven't got time, I haven't got the money, I'm working full time. Now I work full time, but I took my holidays off, because that's the beauty of Bowen. We kind of try and make it accessible for people. We know people are working. So that's where that came in, and I managed to fit it all in. In the 9 months, my training, but I didn't qualify till 3 months after. 21 years, it's coming up in February. I've been a practitioner, and the business has just grown and expanded in the communities, many communities.
Yeah.
I've worked in various environments over the years. And sometimes you think you've got to be in a complementary therapy centre for your business to grow, but actually you don't have to be, really. So not with the history that I've I've come across. So I started out in, I was due to go back to work when I had my little boy, but I didn't. I was offered to help support Paula in her clinic while she was out teaching all over Europe, basically. So she needed somebody that could manage our clinic, which I was managing a GP practice. So I just transitioned, and the skills that I brought from that, as in reception work, appointment systems, you name it, it just transferred into the clinic, including the knowledge of drugs and so forth, and X-ray reports. It really did support me in my early days of starting up my clinic. I mean, like I say, it was the biggest leap I ever done. I had 2 children by then, and I didn't know, what was my income going to be. And I always remember Paula saying, you set out, if you want to fill 2 days, Joanne, you will fill 2 days, and I will support you. And it's the biggest leap I ever took. And I said, well, if I don't go pear-shaped, I can go and work in Tesco. And I haven't got there yet. Nearly didn't
I
have to
find
go.
it hilarious. Find it hilarious because that's a story I've told myself loads. That it doesn't matter. I kind of often in the past, as the business was improving, I'd often look at the sky and go, look, if you don't want me doing this, I'll go stack shelves. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want me to help people, send those people in. And here we are decades later and still doing well. And I'm not surprised that your first touch in Bowen being from Paula was something that was so life-changing. So,
It was.
what a lucky introduction for you as well.
I was very, very lucky, and, in the right place at the right time. But she's just an amazing teacher, so inspiring. And she gave me hope. We'll always doubt ourselves. Can we do this? Are we able to do it? But actually, I doubted myself, but I really wanted to do this for family. I was never setting up a business. Never said
Yeah.
that wasn't the intention. And I thought, why, maybe in a few years' time I might. But I want to treat my family, maybe a few friends, make a bit of pocket money on a weekend, But then when she offered me that, and I thought, this is a big leap. But then something told me, if I don't do this now, I'm going to live with regrets. And I took the biggest leap ever. And gosh, I've never looked back. And, 21 years on, I still haven't gone to Tesco. I don't think they'd have me.
Yeah, I don't know if we're the right kind of demeanor for that kind of work once we've done what we do here, for sure.
But mind, in Tesco, I'm often doing consultations in the aisles. I mean, I don't know whether that counts.
Well, sure, yeah. Whether or not Tesco know about it, I think that's the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Brilliant. So okay, so you had that beautiful introduction. You were working GP practice. You then shifted over into this complementary space. How was that transition for you? What was it like having had all of that background in what we could class as kind of mainstream medical, and then moving into something that was less mainstream? How that was that for you? How was that for the people that knew you and have kind of been your colleagues and the connections over the years in that kind of GP and mainstream medical space?
It seemed a natural progression that I did this. And it was giving people the opportunity to decide how they were going to manage their health and well-being. And you've got options. We still need our GPs and our nurses. Wouldn't be without them, and surgeons. We need them. But alongside that, you've got options of Bowen or other therapies that can help and manage your health and well-being gently and naturally. And it just seemed right to kind of educate them that, there is other things that can help and support your health and well-being, but naturally, and gently. But we do still need the guidance, of our GPs alongside us. And actually, me working I ended up obviously doing the Bowen within the GP practice, I was welcomed with open arms to be supporting alongside the GPs. The GPs, they'd come along and they would have a treatment. The nurses would have a treatment. It integrated pretty well. But Paula had done a lot of that work. But then, it was, the transition was very easy for me. And when I first qualified, because I trained through pregnancy, and the experience I had from having Bowen and knowing how it feels while you're pregnant, but after also was an added bonus mine, because it's brought us, I kind of specialise really in the mother and baby experience, and I did do a lot of talks and demonstrations actually. I think working in the GP practice gave me the confidence to communicate with GPs, because I did every day in any case, and nurses and midwives. So I did do talks with both really. Yeah, so that transition was very, very easy for me. Whereas some people who've never worked alongside some really good GPs might find it a little bit daunting, but I didn't really.
Yeah. And that's really good to hear. And again, a lot of us in the Bowen world have followed the Northern Integrative Health Practice, the kind of the model that Paula set up there in Northumberland, which is, again, just we need to see that echoed more and more around the country, around the world. So it's beautiful to hear that also your experience in there was one of acceptance and inclusion, and that you were being valued within that for what you were bringing. And beautifully in the sense that it's true complementary rather than in seeing it as an either-or process.
Exactly. It was the GP practice was in Durham City, but the Northern Integrated Health Practice, which I work at now on a Monday, I work with some fantastic practitioners, from osteopaths, chiropractors, acupuncturists, we've got counsellors, we've got an ear clinic. You name it, we have that within the building, and homeopaths as well. So it's really good that we collaborate really well together.
Yeah, fabulous. So I'm really curious as well, because obviously you, as you said, you were pregnant during your training. So that meant that you had, for want of a better word, inexperienced practitioners who were working with you, practicing, but you were there under the guidance, obviously, of your tutors. I'm really curious, because you said it made a big difference for you. So what were the like? And again, I'm sure there are people either pregnant, considering pregnancy. What were the benefits that you got? More specifically, from having that treatment while you were pregnant?
Well, it was also, it's to balance the hormones. First and foremost, it was fantastic. It just gave me the inner calmness, really balancing the hormones in the early stages of the first 3 or 4 months, and also morning sickness. So I experienced in my first pregnancy, I was not very good at all with morning sickness for 5 months. But actually, in the pregnancy, my second pregnancy, which was when I was training, I had no morning sickness at all.
Beautiful.
So the morning sickness, it was fantastic for that. But it actually gave me the energy. It balanced my hormones. So I didn't have these outbursts of tears and, unexpected tears as well. There was a lot of tears of joy, mine, throughout my training. But also I just felt as though I just glided through that pregnancy. And sometimes you can be anxious towards the end of your pregnancy. But actually I wasn't. I was quite calm, relaxed, and I just felt as though, I was well looked after. Even though, I was going through training, we had people that were training on me, but I knew it was safe. There's no contraindications. Other than I just had just a wonderful general well-being. And so did the baby, and it was the experience of feeling when you do moves on a person who's pregnant. I know how they feel, because after about a minute or two, you'll get a few little bit of kicking of the baby to just say, oh, that's nice. And they'll continue to kick for about 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the treatment. And then after that, they so relax. So, yeah, the kicking stops, but there's an inner calmness that comes over for the mother, but also for the baby. And as I call my son, he was a born baby, and it was the most easiest labour, which that is another benefit. But an inner calmness, the babe that my son had, but also afterwards, I was able to do a few moves, checking over my baby to make sure that after the trauma at the birth, everything was just released off. The tension was released off in areas that I felt needed to be released. Which can then just welcome the baby into the world, but in a natural way, but a gentle form of just introducing them to Bowen. Yeah, they are stronger babies. I do believe that.
Yeah, beautiful. And I take it as well, because you've not mentioned it, that you didn't really suffer with that lower back pain,
No.
those hip pains, those kind of complications that are very common for women during pregnancy.
You're right, I didn't. And yes, I did forget that bit. I went off on a tangent. But yes, I didn't have any of the lower backache. And one of the other things I found a big benefit towards the end, when you get a little bit heavier, there was odd times that when I was sitting at the office on the desk and Paula would come along, do you need them legs doing, Joanne? Yes, please, because you do get heavy legs. And you get that heavy feeling in that lower back and in the pelvic area, the latter stages of pregnancy. So I found it a massive benefit where you just don't feel as exhausted, tired, achy and heavy, basically. It just brings a lightness to the body and prepares the body for birth, really, the mother for birth.
Brilliant. I love that. And this has also, from what I understand, then been part of your interest in working with pregnancy. I mean, do you kind of do work pre-conception as well and postpartum? So tell me a little bit about your interest there. What kinds of stuff that you see, what kinds of stuff that you felt a lot of benefit from as far as Bowen's concerned around the whole kind of pregnancy and young infancy.
Pregnancy, and I've done quite a bit actually. In the earlier years, not so much the last five years, but I've had a lot of people with fertility issues. So I've kind of helped with that very much. And we've got I've got four, five, no, it was five, babies, which I've helped support along with IVF also. So it plays its role, but in pregnancy, I've done an awful lot for people with hip dysplasia, and a lot of obviously lower back issues, over the years. But also, and obviously I've had a few babies in this week also, and it can be various. A lot of it can be colic, reflux, constipation. Seems to be the main ones that you get quite a lot of. And actually just one or two treatments can kind of give that baby ease and give the mother ease as well. I always kind of like to do mother and baby, really, to just, try and get them, both need to be back into alignment and into balance. If you can treat both at the same time, it's very, very good and beneficial.
Yeah. I've got colleagues that work in various ways around pregnancy, and one of the things that we tend to discuss is this idea that birth has become much more of a medical event than a natural event now, and artificial environments and not necessarily very natural processes. So do you feel that Bowen is, because of its effects on the nervous system, do you think that it's a really good adjunct to any birthing process, just to help bring us back into that better state?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. we could do with a Bowen Practitioner besides the birthing pool, basically. It's really, really good for pain relief as well. But actually, I always encourage my mothers to come close. Actually, I do usually have quite a few that do come before birth for the pure relaxation, but actually getting their body into balance and preparing them ready for the birth. And I'll give them techniques and breathing techniques, but also, yeah, I encourage them to, there's little moves that they can do just to help with the pain relief. You know, it's very, very good for the pain relief, which I did moves on myself in labour. Mind, I mean, Paula did want to be at the birth, but unfortunately she was in Ireland at the time, so she couldn't make it in time. And yeah, I did have a quick birth. I was only in labour 4 hours, so there you go.
Wow.
4 hours.
Brilliant. Well, the testament of Bowen technique for even easing that, just because there's less tension in the system.
Yeah, there's less tension in the system, and that's obviously I had quite a lot of Bowen because of all the training I did. But we did do a few little moves 4 days prior, which I do believe brought me into just such a calm state. The nervous system was so calm and everything was in alignment. So I always knew really that the birth would be probably very natural and very easy, and it was. There was no complications whatsoever. And I did obviously do a few moves on myself just to release the pain a little bit, and it did work.
Yeah, brilliant. I like to hear that. Great. So then, obviously you've been practicing now for 20 years. So, congratulations on that. 2 decades of clinical work is a beautiful space to get to.
Yeah.
But you are also now a tutor for the Bowen College. So what took you into that? What made you decide to go that far?
It just seemed like a natural progression, really. I thought about it. I was approached about 10 years prior, but it wasn't the right time due to family commitments and so forth. So it just seemed it was always going to be that opportunity at some point that I would teach, because I've seen so many people over the years who've been in my clinic, experienced Bowen, loved Bowen, and thought, do you know what? I would like to do this as a career, a good career change. And the amount of people I encourage to go down the line of, yeah, you must train in it. It was a natural progression. And when I got a phone call of Joanne to join the Bowen College, yeah, I jumped to the chance really because it was the right time for me. Yes, I know my clinic is extremely busy and it takes an awful lot of time up when I have got a family. But my family's older, so I was able to do that. And yeah, and it's the introductory which resonates with me very much, purely because it's given people the opportunity to train. It's a 2-day course for their friends and family, and that's how I came into it. I never ever thought I'd be able to do it. Never ever thought I had the time or the money. And because that's the obstacles people put in. And I want it so people can say, do you know what? I really would like to have a career change, but I do not want to commit to a big, long course. And can I really do it? But this introductory gives them the opportunity to get a little taster. Is this for me? Am I going to be able to do this? And I know for a fact that the courses that I've done, a lot of them are going to go on to be practitioners, because once you get your hands are Bowen hands and you want to give treatments to people and help other people, you become a lifelong member of Bowen Law. It just doesn't leave you. Them skills don't leave you. Your hands are always there to help somebody, and this gives them an opportunity to help people.
Yeah.
Better
So for
quality of
anybody
life.
that's not, which is what we're all aiming for ultimately, But with these introductions, I'm writing thinking that they're open to anybody. There's no prerequisites. You don't have to have any prior experience or knowledge or training in any kind of health or physical discipline.
No, you don't. And that's basically, I could have worked in Tesco's when I came across Bowen and gone in at the time, but I did do my anatomy and physiology alongside my Bowen course. But with these introductory levels, you don't have to have the anatomy and physiology. You don't have to know the terminology or the muscles. But if you do, it's a bonus. You can
Sure.
come along. This is for you to be able to learn something to try and help the health and well-being of your family and, maintain good health. And and in the training, I give you all the skills that you would need to be able to come away and feel very confident to be able to do these treatments on a family member and know that you're not going to have any harm, but it's safe. Because over that period, you need 2 days. You need 2 days.
Yeah, and I think it's so important considering the burden that is on the NHS, considering the struggles that a lot of people have accessing health services for various reasons, which could be financial, could be time-based. There's lots of issues in there. So to actually help people with a practice that is simple in its format to learn, but can have a profound effect for your family, could be an absolute game changer for communities around the country.
Without a doubt, yeah, with the overburdened GP services now, and people are actually in fear, I feel, because they know it's good. If anything goes wrong with their health, they're having to wait a while to see somebody. But with Bowen, it's so gentle, and if you have to wait a week to see a GP for a few niggles, aches and pains, or people are actually very stressed, Bowen can come and support you in so many ways, and give you that reassurance you've got something that's going to bring a little calmness into the situation that we have at the moment, really. Maintaining good health and well-being, and you know that from Bowen. Bowen just, rebalances the body.
Yeah, and I think with back pain as well, and neck pain, shoulder pain, things that are so synonymous with modern living, the amount of time we spend sitting, just the postures that we engage in, the relief of the burden from the kind of mainstream medical services for something that actually, if we had somebody in every household who understood just these basic practices, could make a phenomenal change to what's going on for the health of the nation.
It would. It'd make a big change, massive change, especially if somebody in the household was able to do a treatment. You don't have to do a treatment every week. It could be once a month, whatever it is. It's a preventer. It's preventing your body from getting into crisis. And I say this in clinic, and it's a funny one. And I'll go, you've got your car, you take it for a service, so it doesn't break down, basically. And fine well, though, with a car, if you don't take it for that service, you can buy a new car or buy a new car. Well, actually, we have a body, and we treat it like a machine, like a car. And if you put good fuel in, good water and oil, which our bodies need, you'll actually, and a service now and again, it won't break down, will it? And it'll function well and be able to, cope with life's ups and downs, basically.
I use almost identical analogy in my own clinic. And I talk to people about, if you were a really obscenely expensive car, like you wouldn't be putting cheap fuel in it. You wouldn't put cheap parts in it. You'd regularly service it, and you'd learn to become a better driver, because that's going to extend the life of the vehicle. And the only thing we can't really control sometimes is how bumpy the roads are. So if we've got a better servicing schedule, we're much less likely to write the car off before it gets to the end of the journey.
But that's it. And what we're doing as Bowen practitioners is basically encouraging people to take care of their health and well-being naturally, gently. But actually, it's preventing injury. Your body's not going to get into that crisis of injuring if you have a little bit of maintenance now and again. And if you've got a family member that's able to just give you a treatment now and again when you've got a bit of aches and pains because you've been in the garden, yeah, you've got somebody there to say, right, you have a nice Bowen treatment and then you can have a nice Epsom salt bath. Yeah, the old
Sounds good. I love that. So I'm curious as well, especially because you've got this real interest in these introductory courses. You might be working with people who've got very little kind of knowledge that would kind of make that process easier for them. What do you find is the hardest concept for people to grasp on those introductory sessions?
It's actually the Bowen move. And what is good though, if you've got a good group of people, yeah, a good number of people, 6 to 8 people, you're going to get a chance to work on different bodies as well and discover. We have a good, easy format that is relatable. We've got a fantastic manual, but you've got a fantastic teacher. I mean, you've got a fantastic teacher. We bring a lot of fun. We bring a lot of fun into the classroom. We make it easy. I use the terminology, but I also put it into normal language also, because a lot of people who come on these courses, they wouldn't have a clue if I started spouting out terminology and the different muscles and the muscle groups, but actually they get used to that muscle groups because it's all in a fantastic manual and guidance, and we go through the manual step by step. It's very, very straightforward. And actually, when they come away from the course after that 2 days, they've got a fantastic manual with photographs, which will recap, because a lot of people don't, they go by looking at photos. We've got an easy guide basically for them to take away from them. But at the same time, I'm at the other end of the phone. We take care, we look after the people. Doesn't matter what course they go on. We only a phone call away, really, and give them reassurance. Every step of the
So
way.
do you think it's that simplicity within the move that's the challenging bit?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's for people who are not used to touching other bodies in that way? Because we've become much less tactile in our societies. So do you think it's that kind of getting used to getting their hands onto a body and starting to feel those structures?
Yeah. And it's like anything. It's once they get over that, actually, once they get over like doing them first moves and being able to touch somebody's body, they overcome quite a lot, even after 2 or 3 hours in the classroom of working on a body. And then we might swap over later on in the day so they've got somebody else to work on. But once they've mastered that Bowen move and the touch, that they're getting used to the feel of underneath the hands and how the muscle can feel in different areas and different people. By the second day, and more practice, it's like anything. It's like, learning to ride a bike. The more you practice, it becomes more familiar.
And what do you think the biggest insight your students are getting from that learning process?
It's becoming more and more familiar of the body and how we use it, how we function. But at the same time, when we're doing the moves, they're getting used to all the different muscle groups and how they're so connected and how we get it, from a gentle touch, the release that you get in different areas, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I've just, again, as we're recording this, I've just spent the weekend with Graham Pennington on his Targeting Primary Dysfunction. And for him to go into the depth for us about those interconnections through the meridians and what are classed as the fascia sinew channels and just really understanding those chains that connect different parts of the body, and why a move in one area, you may feel a release somewhere that seems so far away,
Yeah.
but actually it's very well mapped physiology from that Chinese medicine point of view.
Yeah, and that's why the more you practice, the more you have this touch, the more you get familiar with the different muscle groups, but also you'll get a good variation of experience, basically. And it's good that when you go on these courses, you get and practice on, so you can feel changes, but then you practice on somebody else, and then you feeling, oh, that's a different. Everybody's different, but I'm trying not to waffle too much. Sometimes I get a bit confused in what I'm saying. But
Great.
what I'm trying to say is, it's good on the courses to feel what it feels like to have a, a Bowen move in a certain area, but also to replicate when you come in to do a move on somebody else. Because, yeah, less is more, really, in your application. And I think you've got to experience Bowen to understand it also a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah,
beauty of
'cause
it. You know, a lot of people might go on this course, but they might just think, oh, I am just practicing. Nobody's going to be practicing on me. But they are. Yeah. It just helps you to understand Bowen more, doesn't it?
yeah, sure. It's not a spectator sport, that's for sure.
No. No, you've got to experience it from both sides, really.
Yeah, definitely. So, is there anything as well that's kind of fundamentally changed in how you apply Bowen compared to when you first began? Is there anything that you really relied on that you now don't, and anything that you've embraced in these kind of more recent years that you used to resist?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, yeah, you do change. I mean, I've been on so many courses over the years, to further develop my knowledge of Bowen, and taking us in different areas. I do find that I do more related, take great interest in TMJ, and yeah, it that's plays a big role actually on the whole body. I do a lot more around the head, and vagus and lymphatic. Yeah, I,
Brilliant.
I do work differently. I don't go by format as such.
Yeah. So, because again, traditionally in Bowen teaching, it was quite formulaic. And I think one of the things that certainly I've noticed, the more of the extended and advanced practices and the times I've spent with some of the more senior teachers, it's all about getting away from the formulas and actually paying attention. And I think Gus de la Cuera put it beautifully in the interview I did with him. He said, be loyal to the patient, not to the therapy, in that, which I thought was brilliantly put.
Yeah, he is one great guy, is Gus. And I've been on a fair few of his courses. And that's where I did start to change in my application. Yes, the Bowen move is always there and that gentle touch, but you're listening to what's under your fingers more and listening to, the body.
Yeah, brilliant. And what do you wish someone had taught you when you started that you now find, kind of essential as part of what you do? I mean, I know you had a great start with Paula as well, so it's maybe a bit of a tricky question to ask, but, what do you wish you'd known then that you know now?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a tricky question. Yeah, I don't know. Can't really answer it. I can't think. I suppose it's more what I would have liked to know more of the anatomy and physiology, nutrition and all of that malarkey, before. I wished I'd known a little bit more of that. I wished I'd done that, maybe done that 2 years prior.
Mhm.
So yeah, but really, it didn't hold me back. Really, it didn't.
Yeah,
Nothing
sure.
held me back. In the format of Bowen, it helps you to get that into your head. And the way you teach in the beginning is, I don't think you could change that.
Mm.
And I don't think I've answered that.
It's a slightly cheeky question, and I don't know whether or not there is a good answer. But I'd just like to double check with him. Yeah, yeah. Maybe there isn't an easy answer for that one, but I like to check in with it anyway. One of the other things that I noticed on your bio as well is that something that you're into is homeobotanicals, and I'm just really curious about what that is.
Well, Homeobotanicals is a system of herbal remedies, and it works alongside Bowen fantastically. I really wanted to train as a homeopath,
Mhm.
because I've gone down the route of Bowen to look after my family, but actually homeopathy alongside Bowen has always played a big role in the family. But yeah, the length of course was just ridiculous, and the cost. So I went into Homeobotanicals, and actually did all my training in lockdown. So I wanted to be able to help support my clients where I couldn't do hands-on. I wanted to be able to help my clients, especially the ones who were in a lot of pain, to have a natural system to help them with the pain management, basically. But actually, it's
Mhm.
played a massive role in other conditions, not just pain relief. It's holistic remedies that assist to cleanse our body of all toxins, basically, and it leaves the body capable of functioning more efficiently. So it works very well with Bowen because, as you know, Bowen can cleanse and detox and rebalance the body, but the herbal remedies can do the same also. So I find it's a great benefit to work alongside Bowen. People may come, for Bowen less because
Mhm.
they get maintenance. It's making it more cost effective for people. Or I have some clients that don't ever have Bowen, but they have the
Mhm.
homeobotanicals to support the well-being naturally, rather than having to take prescription drugs. And some people can't take the prescription drugs because of some of the conditions they have. Especially, I've got
Mhm.
a lot of asthmatic clients who can't take anti-inflammatories, so I can then personalize the prescription for them. So it is a
Yeah,
personalized
brilliant.
prescription. I could tell them to take a certain herbal remedy and go to the local herbalist and get this remedy, that remedy, but why would I when I can do it more cost effectively and more
Mhm.
personalized prescription, really?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, and I'm a multidisciplinary therapist, so and the kind of nutrition support side of this, lifestyle changes, other things, for me, they're part of that education of our clients to help them need us less. And, we don't ask the plumber to do the electrics work, and, I don't get the brickie to work on my car. So it's about having the right tool for the right part of the system. And Bowen being an amazing system as it is, when we look at it as a more in a wider context of other support that the body needs. And they're very much supported as well with Manon's views on looking at things from a wider perspective, her as a naturopath, and also Jonathan de Monte over in Canada, who's really big on using homeopathy with Bowen as well because of the
Yeah.
two supporting each other. And I think it's great now that there are more people looking at this wider side. And it's also been really interesting for me chatting to people like Michael Nixon Livy, Graham Pennington, Ron Phelan, how much there are other things that have informed the Bowen with them. It's not just this is all you need and this is all anybody needs.
Yeah.
It's always part of the bigger picture.
I think what drew me to Homeobotanicals, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Bowen, as in it's kind of cleansing and detoxing your system and bringing it back into balance and kind of healing itself, because it's got the capability of healing itself, your body. And actually, the Homeobotanicals kind of does the same thing also. Yeah, it enables people to have a better quality of life, and that's what it's all
Perfect.
about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Above all, we're here to try and make life better for everyone that we're interacting with.
And that's, I think with throughout the years, I've done a lot of talks and demonstrations to a lot of different groups, and I still continue just to kind of give people an opportunity and know that there is something else out there that can help support them with the general health and well-being on so many levels, but naturally.
Brilliant. So I'm curious about where you see manual therapy such as Bowen evolving over the next decade or so. What's your vision for the future?
Gosh, I would love to see a Bowen therapist, yeah, in every GP practice, basically. But no, not every GP practice. But yeah, I would like to see it more accessible, um, mainstream, so people can get the opportunity, to receive such a therapy that can help on so many levels, really, not just everybody's got a little bit of a shopping list, haven't they, when they, with the health. And it kind of, you might have a bad back, but at the same time, you might suffer with, I don't know, indigestion. It'll kind of help with both at the same time. Why go and see the GP for indigestion and then go and see the physio for your bad back? Two for the price of one, really, we're born.
So often, yeah, and amazing how many things can be supported because of that interaction between tissues, the nervous system, the meridian systems. It's such a comprehensive field of work within such a simple format. It's beautiful.
It would be nice, though, to see it in GP practices where it's more accessible and giving people the option to choose, really.
Yeah, sure. So there you go, NHS. This is how we can solve a lot of the problems for you. Let's start getting more Bowen practitioners in there. There's loads of us. We're ready to help.
I am having social prescribers, actually, that are going to be coming on my course at the introductory level. So it could, yeah, it's one stepping stone, isn't it? But it has, it in some areas, they do prescribe Bowen, as long as they've got the funding.
Yeah, sure. And again, for as many Bowen practitioners as possible to be on the CNHC register, which is that accessible portal then for the NHS to be able to refer over. So it's kind of encouraging that process of making sure that, if you're doing clinical work, get yourself up to that standard where you can be accessed more easily by the NHS and they can feel confident in what you're going to be delivering will be suitable for the people that they refer over.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more, Joe, as well about where you think we should be exploring in bodywork, anywhere that you think isn't being given enough attention and focus as far as Bowen's concerned.
There's another question. I'm not certain on that one. You can tell I'm going blank now.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly okay. Again, for me, it's been really interesting to kind of look at the Bowen world especially over the last kind of year or so, and I'm really keen that we're all starting to work more together. That's my biggest focus at the moment, is that we're all aiming for the same target, which is to improve health to the world around us. So let's put more effort into collaborating, working together, playing to all of our strengths I think that's for
Yeah,
me one of the big things.
the collaboration. What I've enjoyed, joining the college as a tutor is it's been lovely that all us like-minded people from different walks of life, but different Bowen colleges as well, collaborate because all of us have different skills to add and to join together. It's been lovely. It just progresses Bowen to the wider audience, but the wider Bowen community within our country, but spreading out even across Europe and the world, isn't it? And I mean, as you know, you'll have been on a heck of a lot of courses over the years, and I have, but for us to connect more and more, and actually through you doing these interviews as well, we're connecting and knowing more about the people that we've gone on courses with or gone to their courses. It's been fascinating to see that. It's been because we don't always hear how people started out and how we progressing and moving on and what direction we all going in. We all going in the
Yep.
same direction.
Yep. Yeah. Our journey might be slightly different. Our vehicles might be slightly different, but we're all heading in that same direction. And this for me was a big thing. It is look at the commonalities and look at what it is that we all share, which is our love for this thing, and how we can use that. And it's perfectly okay for different perspectives to be out there, and it's just one thing to be able to respect those and accept those, but then move forward in a healthy way with each other.
It isn't it? It's our love. We've all got one thing in common: our love and passion for the skills that we have been gifted, and to give a better health and well-being to many others. And
Yeah.
and if it, yeah, it's just wonderful, isn't it? That born journey just keeps on giving. It never. I don't think it'll ever end.
I hope not. I hope not.
No,
So
that's the whole
brilliant.
point of going into the tutor side. We want more born practitioners. I need a lot more help up in the north. Really do. It's like it's been phenomenal this last 2 years. Why since the pandemic reopening, it's been phenomenal. My clinic, it's a very busy clinic, and I just would like to see more and more born practitioners, because we have seen changes since the pandemic. Unfortunately, we've got a changeover where we've had a lot of experienced, fantastic teachers around, not teachers, practitioners, but they've come to retirement age, and
Yeah.
we need more passionate born practitioners to keep this legacy going and to keep our communities in good health.
Yeah. And it's been great to see with the colleges as well that you're now offering these introductions to help people just on that first rung. So we get this kind of, do more to be able to support your family and the people close to you. But also I think you've become much clearer about what that pathway to a clinical career is as well. And the level of support to reach that has become a lot better.
Oh gosh, the level of support that you get from being in a really good college. Once you've even into the introductory level, there's a massive amount of support for the introductory people, but also if they want to go on into the training, the practitioner level, there's an awful lot of support for them. In the training, there's more than just learning Bowen. There's a whole big package basically, which enables people to have a new career path, and giving people the opportunity to do a job they love. There's not many people can say that. And because I know from me, if I was working for somebody else, I wouldn't be working the hours I'm working. No, I wouldn't. But because I love what I do, and you're not working really.
Yeah, it's just doing something that has meaning for you and purpose is one of the highest callings that we've got. So I love it. I don't ever plan to really retire. I might do less, but I won't ever retire. And I'm just going to enjoy the journey, because being with people and supporting them in their health is a real honor, and it's something that is different every day.
Oh, it is. Every day is different, and we are so, so grateful for some wonderful people we meet over the years. And to see the changes in people, and to see them have that better quality of life, and that hope of, yeah, a new way of life, basically. When people, I mean, we're getting more and more conditions coming into clinic that are very complex, and people are some clients are very poorly, and they think, why, this is me for the rest of my life. And as I get older, couldn't possibly be any worse than I am. And this is what I get in clinic. But once they come with complex conditions, and seeing the changes that they have to getting a better quality of life that they never thought they'd be able to manage, is second to none. Second to none, really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you, Joanne. Really appreciated the conversation we've had today. We're just coming up on an hour chatting away, so we've managed to move through that really, really nicely. Just as a finish off, I'm curious for you to let people know, if they want to learn more about you, where's the best place that they can go, and we'll stick some links in below.
To find out more about me, my clinic's J. Hewitt Bowen Therapy Clinic. And you can find me on Facebook, and also my website. I'll give you the link to my website. But if you want to do the training, it's the Bowen College UK, which is very accessible. We've got a fantastic new website, and you'll see all the information on there of all the courses, which my next course is in October in Durham on the 19th and 20th of October.
Brilliant. And this interview will be up and live well before that. So if you're listening along and you're interested in that, we'll stick links to it all down in the description. Jo, thank you very much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody as well who's been listening along. We really appreciate your time and attention and listening to these conversations on Bowen Technique. So that's thanks to me, Ben Calder, for the BTPA, the Bowen Therapy Professional Association. And thank you very much, Joanne.
Thank you, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you.